So I did some thinking and testing, and yes, the screws are way too long to be used in this configuration. The most obvious solution would be to just cut them to length, but I wasn't really happy with that. Don't want to start a Dremel or to cut them by hand. So I wondered if I could try another solution. And if we do the math, if we zero in on the screw head here and measure the thread length, we have 12 millimeters. Since we're supposed to use 2 screws into one spacer, that means we have to make way, if you want, for 24 millimeters of thread. So the spacer by itself is 8 millimeter long, so that leaves 16. The acrylic here is 4.5-ish, and the board 1.5. So that's 6 more, which remains 10. And with these 10, if we were to use another spacer, we would use 8 millimeters. And if we were to use a smaller screw than the 12 millimeter on one side, because on the A6 bag, which is for the screen, not the motherboard, for some reason they've included some slightly shorter screws, still way too long, but 2 millimeters shorter, and we have 2 millimeters to make go. So it's up to you. If you face the same problem, either you cut the screws, and that's the obvious way, that's the best way in some regard, or you can make your own Lego of parts and use only 2 mounting holes instead of 4, because we're using 2 spacers on each hole, and make things go not exactly like they were intending to, but close enough. Ta-da! One other problem is that these screws are too long for these spacers as well. If I zero in on the spacer and screw the screw all the way, we can see there are 8.3 millimeters of head and thread. You remove the 3 millimeters of the head, that's 5.38 millimeters of thread. The acrylic being 4.5, the threads on the spacer side are 1 millimeter too short. So since I don't have a tap, I'm using the screw as a tap and forcing my way 1 millimeter down the missing thread of the spacer. But that's another disappointment from Tevo. Or maybe I've got a better solution here. No. This one then. When I can't get a good grip on the screwdriver and I cannot remove the bit, damn it. Oh, it turned. That's an issue when you work with brass